r/AskReddit. Have any Redditors been diagnosed with coronavirus yet? If so, what is it like? Stepdaughter brought it home from school. Made us all sick. 3 days of fever chills. Felt like blowing and coughing razor blades. Stayed hydrated. Probably a week and a half into it now with only a cough and blocked snotty nose. The phlegm is a yummy thick sticky green. Can definitely see how the elderly or infirm could be pushed over the edge with it tbh. Yikes. Bless your heart. Hang in there. I'm a very healthy person, normally. For me the worst parts area really bad flu mixed with a little shortness of breath and sore throat. I've quarantined myself, mostly to protect people in my city who can't fight it off. Damn it Biogen. Edit. I bit more info. I'm not in the high risk age category. Have been sick for about 2 weeks. Started as cold symptoms but gradually started getting worse. Fever, less appetite, on top of the cold symptoms. Onset was gradual over the course of about a few weeks, and travel plans have been cancelled. My best friend is one of only 200 patients here in Germany so far to fully recover from the virus. He's 19 though, so he only experienced a day of mild symptoms, and after 2 weeks of quarantine everything's back to normal. Mild appears to mean something different to all of us. What were the symptoms? They had to hold him down while he struggled to go travel the world and attend high volume events. Shoulder flavored, it is serious. Edit. Flared. Not flavored. Edit. Yes guys, I get it. Flavor Town. Haha, so original. My daughter lives in a nation, like a co-ed frat, at Lund University in Sweden. A close friend of hers that lives in her corridor is Sweden's patient zero. He returned from Italy about a week ago. Since he entered the country via Copenhagen, the health dep didn't catch him until the next morning. He felt fine and had only encountered 2 people in the hall before going to his room. He tested positive and the other 2 are quarantined for 14 days. They took him to the hospital. 2 days later he spiked to 105-degree fever and he has a bad cough and chest tightness. He's been achy, had chills, headaches, vomiting and diarrhea. He goes through day-long stretches where he feels like he's gotten better and then it comes back. He's 21, was in great health and shape. They are doing breathing treatments on him. Statistically he should be fine. He's said it's like he's going to die. Then he's fine and the circle begins again. There was a guy who caught it on one of the cruises. His wife didn't catch it but he did. He said that he got a fever couple days in a row, got really dehydrated, drank a ton of Gatorade and water. It was mild for him and he was already looking like he was in his 60s. He wasn't really complaining of chest breathing problems. He said the weird thing about the whole virus was he didn't get the achy, headache, coughing, stuffy nose like the regular flu. The biggest symptom is an unreal urge to visit every place in the world. I am a nurse at level 1 trauma center hospital in Detroit. I swear COVID has been around for weeks. There are several members of my surgical team that have been hit hard with respiratory and fevers. We may have misidentified this as the flu. There has been a lack of communication, policy, and testing. My hospital doesn't have a plan. My wife is an accountant and they have a plan to work from home. Again, my hospital does not. This means we are continuing to operate as usual until we physically cannot. Edit. My hospital rolled out a policy. We are not to meet in groups over 20 people. Once our first confirmed case is in-house, all elective non-emergent surgeries are cancelled. We expect to have our first case by tonight. We expect our ICUs to get hit hard sometime next week. That's interesting. Here in central PA, I had my annual checkup at the beginning of the year and my internist told me that there had been a really bad respiratory bug going around this year that had been especially hard on older people. It seems unlikely that it was the coronavirus, but it makes you wonder, could some variety of this virus have failed to be noticed for that long? Isn't Tom Hanks on Reddit? I can't believe we gave Tom Hanks corona. Way to go, Gold Coast. Me. I'm 28 and so I'm obviously not in the high risk category, but I can explain my symptoms I guess. I've been sick for 15 days and only have stayed in my house for the last 5 due to not having lots available here in southern Spain. It started as a cold with mucus and that was the main reason why I hadn't taken it seriously, but after a few days it got more severe. My symptoms by day 4 were a sore throat, wheezing, coughing, chills, no appetite, swollen lymph nodes, sour muscles. This was new to me, and in the last few days it's turned into a painful dry cough. Both my parents have the same symptoms. Honestly think my dad had it 2 weeks ago, had a high fever, the worst cough of his life, trouble breathing, and didn't leave his bed for 5 days. Had chest congestion up until about 3 days ago. Was at a doctor's office a week prior to feeling symptoms. All good now. Didn't get tested but he's convinced he got the corona at the doctor as he says haha. If he did have it, it makes me feel better about it because he didn't have serious complications and didn't pass it to any of my family members including myself. Edit. Y'all are acting like I don't practice hygiene and that I am presenting a risk to people. I'm not an idiot y'all, we know how to disinfect after an illness and I haven't left the house in a week since my school extended spring break. Thanks to all the moral police. To the dude who said this is how misinformation spreads, nowhere did I claim to be a doctor and claim to know anything or try to spread facts. Just starting a discussion and conversation. This was not flared serious and not the r/coronavirus, so get TF over yourself. Edit. He's obviously fine now and it's been 15 days and no one in the house is remotely ill. There is a guy who had a video explaining how it felt. He is an English teacher in China. Said it was the worst feeling he ever felt. All joints hurt like crazy. Body was sore. No energy to do stuff including the usual flu/cold symptoms. That's exactly how I felt when I got mono. Ask again in a month. In a month. The question would be any Redditor who is yet to have the coronavirus? Better question. How the hell did you get tested? A friend of mine may have it, based on the symptoms and severity he's experiencing. But our local govt won't give him a test for it because he hasn't recently traveled from China or Italy and hasn't had contact with any confirmed cases. It's absolute bullshit. Our actual virus rate is probably exponentially higher than what's been announced, just because they won't test for it. My uncle, 70ish, got diagnosed with it a couple days ago in Washington state. He's been quarantined but the nurses didn't know proper protocol at the time and allowed my auntie to visit. Now she has self-quarantined herself at her home. He seems to be in stable condition in the last update, but does have pneumonia. He's been quarantined but the nurses didn't know proper protocol. Now, when you say quarantine, I work ends in Tennessee and 2 days ago we transported a patient from hospital to hospital who was a confirmed COVID-19 patient. Ask me in about 2 weeks how I'm feeling. Just left the doctor. Possible that I have it. I had matching symptoms so she swab tested me and told me to isolate myself. No results yet as it was about 30 minutes ago. I'll get back once I have the results. Good luck man. Introverts are the superior race. Yeah, and we live in Reddit. I barricaded myself into my bedroom after buying lots of snacks so I can avoid that illness. So, which measures did you take against the virus? Y'all saying only Redditors will survive this. Can we be realistic? North Koreans will be the only ones who survive. Had it. 2 days of raised temperature and feeling sick. Slept a lot. Watched Netflix. Felt better on day 3. I'm 40. Was on a cruise with my housemates and caught it from a bunch of Chinese tourists. My buddy showed signs first and was severely bedridden for 3 days. He got tested on the second day, and whilst we knew he had it, results took a couple of days to get back to us. I got hit on day 2 of my buddy being sick. It hit me during the night and I felt super hot and was shivering all night. When I got out of bed my clothes were literally dripping wet from all the sweat. Spent that day feeling pretty tired but not too bad. Next day though I felt more tired and by 7 PM I was exhausted and went to bed. Got up the next day and my energy was returning but I'd now developed a fairly frequent cough. As I have asthma, any illness that affects my lungs really screws me up. So I got over the temperature part and lack of energy bit over 2 days and it wasn't really that bad, but my cough took the best part of 2 weeks to get over. It wasn't a painful cough. It was just annoying that it was frequent. I also had mild diarrhea for the first 2 days. My housemate got over the cough part on day 3. His girlfriend, lives with us, ended up sick on day 4 and her symptoms were just like his. Our other housemate didn't really get much of a cough but he took 5 days to get over the fever / get out of bed. Then we spent 3 weeks in the house. Thankfully we always keep our house full of food, so we didn't even need to order food. Took the test again and we were all clear. Personally, on a pain scale the fever was maybe a 4, tiredness a 7 and the cough was maybe an 8 for frequency, but the pain was only like a 3. I had the flu a couple of years ago and that definitely kicked my ass way worse, but I can definitely see that if you're old and have weak lungs how it could really screw you over. Plus of course it's way easier to catch spread. So if you think you have it, stay the duck indoors. Friend of mine got it. She described it as a bad cold mild flu. She only got tested after being contacted as someone that had been in contact with another confirmed case. In between contracting it and testing positive, she worked several shifts in a bank, went to the gym, went to the theater. Thankfully I've not seen her recently, nor have any of the friends I have seen. Not me at all, but an acquaintance of my mother died. She was in her 50s with some heart issues. She likely got infected on a trip on the 20th. Dead 2 days ago. The 2 weeks incubation period is a max incubation period. It can be way more drastic than that. Haven't been tested yet, but I was in California in early January. I live on the East Coast, and while at a work function I was walking out of the restroom, and as I was rounding the hallway corner, I could hear what sounded like a mixture between Reagan from The Exorcist and the worst coughing fit ever heard. Well, sure enough, a dude came from around the corner, clearly having issues, not covering himself at all, and coughed completely in my face. Straight up like a scene out of a movie. The next day I felt meh, tired, out of it, but not too bad. The following 4 days I spent in Cali were the worst days of my life. I usually do okay with the flu colds. I literally felt like I was slow in dying. I flew home that weekend and felt really bad for the poor sob sitting next to me. I tried so hard to contain the coughs. About a week later I recovered, but it was horrible. I think I was patient number 4. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.